a star.
Hello and welcome. We are here today with the National Youth Film Academy. My name is Lloyd and I'm an actor.
And I'm Megan and I'm part of the art department.
And today we are joined by the very esteemed creators of Disney Pixar's Lightyear.
They have worked on films such as A Bug's Life, Finding Nemo, Ratatouille, Up, and of course Toy Story.
So, without further ado, I would love to introduce you to the writer and director, Angus MacLane.
And the producer, Galyn Susman.
Hello, how are you?
Hello.
We both watched the film recently and we really enjoyed it. Like, I've been transported back to my childhood. It's just
thank you.
been blown away by watching the film, and we're really excited to ask you guys some questions.
Yeah.
Great.
I suppose something I've been dying to ask is you both have over 20 years of experience working with Pixar. So there's a lot of history and a lot of wisdom that you have collected along the way that has all led to this wonderful film Lightyear. Could you tell us a little bit about your journeys and how this film was made? Galyn, can we start with you? I know that you were started with Pixar first, if that's all right.
That is true, yes. I started at Pixar over 30 years ago, and I started as a generalist. I know you're not even 30. Don't rub it in. I've heard that already today. So I started as a generalist. I did everything that was considered technical at the time. So I did modeling and articulation and shading and lighting and simulation and effects and all that kind of stuff. We didn't have so many specialties back then. And then I switched over to production management on Ratatouille as the associate producer, and I've been doing production management ever since. I'm producing as much of what Angus is creatively directing as I possibly can, because he's a brilliant director. And it's been quite the road. Yeah, it's true, you are. Hats off to you.
You're a brilliant producer, thank you.
Thank you so much. And it's been fun. It's been great fun.
And yourself?
I started in animation in 1997, and where I worked on Bug's Life was the first first feature I worked on, and then I did some story work on Toy Story 2, and then was an animator on Toy Story 2. I did some story work on Monsters, and then did animation on Monsters. And then afterwards, I went to Nemo for a bit in animation, and then spent 3.5 years on Incredibles and animated about 6.5 minutes of Incredibles. And then I did 3.5 years of animation on storyboard, and I was the directing animator on Wall-E. And then from Wall-E, I ended up directing Bernie, which is on the DVD short. And then after that, I went to Toy Story 3 as an animator, and then did Toy Story Toons Small Fry and as a director, and then did Toy Story of Terror, and then I did Finding Dory as a co-director, and then that led me to this. Actually, I'm leaving out like 4 or 5 things, but that's fine. You get the idea. Whatever. Cartoon guy.
They didn't ask for every step.
Well, I just was my brain was going for what? How did I get here?
No. Our viewers are gonna love that. Thank you very much. When you started writing the script, you co-wrote it with Jason Headley.
Yes, that's right.
I have to say that we were both in fits of laughter for quite a lot of the film. So you guys must have been giggling whilst you were writing some of the jokes in for the parents. It was very inclusive.
Well, I mean, we just try to put stuff in the movie we think is funny, and put the weirdest thing we can put in there that's still going to work for the character. The important thing for the comedy in this film is that we have this. It's a sci-fi action movie, and you have to have the comedy shouldn't undercut the drama and the stakes of the world. But once we figured out what the characters were, you could really see where, in a situation, what Darby would say, what Mo would say, what Socks would say, what Buzz would say, what Izzy would say. We get to the point where now you can kind of hear them, and then they kind of tell you what they should be. Jason Hadley is a very funny writer, and it's important to have a collaborator who you think is hilarious. And we have slightly different senses of humor. But it's the combination of that really makes the movie for me, whereas I'll come in with some weird concept like, okay, Mo has a pen, he's got to have a pen. He's like, that doesn't make any sense. I'm like, no, he's got to have a pen. I'm telling you, we can make this thing work. And then he'll go, well, you could make it work if you do this. And so it's the combination of the two of us that really like made that sensibility of the film, I would say.
One thing we noticed while watching Lightyear, that you can really see loads of people from all walks of life. And I was wondering, how important was it for you guys that Lightyear wasn't just an action film for the boys?
Very.
Yeah.
Yeah, for both of us. In fact, I sometimes joke that Angus is a stronger feminist than I am. But definitely, inclusiveness, it was super important to both of us, both in gender and in
background, ethnicity.
Ethnicity, right. Yeah. You know, it's one of those things where if kids can see themselves on the screen, then they connect that much more with what it is that they're watching, and they feel heard and seen, and so that really means a lot to us.
And I think that the earliest sci-fi I was watching was the original Star Trek series, and that at the time was very groundbreaking for its diversity.
Absolutely.
It doesn't, now it's not that diverse, but at least what I first kind of saw as sci-fi was a diverse group of people working together, and it's that kind of spirit that I wanted to carry into this film.
Yeah, it was very, very pleasant to witness that with such ease as well. It was done, and just to sort of carry on a little bit about that is what I really, really loved was you took Buzz Lightyear, who is a symbol almost of sort of the American macho man, and there was some real vulnerability with his character. And I'm not a father, but I would imagine, taking your child, your son, to see that and to see such a symbol of macho man be vulnerable is going to really sort of make a lot of dads happy that their children are watching it. So how important was that for you? I mean, it clearly was a very conscious decision, and it was beautiful.
That's well, I have to say I'm really impressed that you picked up on that and that you asked about that, because I think that there hasn't been a lot of media where there are a lot of different ways to explore masculinity. And I think that the way the movie starts is you feel like it's going to go towards a superhero story where Buzz saves the day. And I think that Buzz is a character, I always thought of it like he's never seen a movie where he wasn't the protagonist. And so he has a very narrow vision of what success is, as far as like proving to himself that he is a success. And what's so hard sometimes in society is men aren't given an opportunity to fail and have that be okay. I'd say that for everybody. I mean, men are given plenty of opportunity to fail, and they do early and often seem to do just fine. But what I wanted to say about it was more that there is an opportunity to recognize that solving it by yourself doesn't make you more of a success, and that asking for help is often the most important thing you can do. Because these movies on our side is a result of a lot of collaboration between people, definitely from diverse walks of life, and that's the reality of it. It's not one person. Yet so much of our society wants to push it on the individual because it's a consumer-based society, especially Western society. And so that's some of the journey of the film, of someone that feels like they need to be the superhero, realizing that they can share that challenge, and that's okay.
For you, Galyn, what was your favourite moral value in the story? And is there a reason why, personally for you, that would be because there were so many, and you just touched on quite a few there, Angus, but I just wanted to hear Galyn's opinion of it.
I'm very drawn to this notion that we either are so busy focusing on the past, whether it's nostalgia or regret, or focusing on the future, the goal that you feel like you need to achieve, that we miss what we have right in front of us in the present. And that really speaks to me. I know that I fall prey to that very much, and I like to use the film as a reminder to be more present in the moment. Something
that's dear to my heart is pre-production, being part of the art department. I love getting a script, working with a director and creating the world. And I know you, Angus, you use Lego to do it. And I think I might have to steal that idea when I'm creating sets. But I was wondering, it's so cool. But what is your favorite part of pre-production?
It was really cool. There's an artist, I don't know where he lives in the UK, Callum, who was our first outside artist for concept, and because of the time difference, he would work for a full day and then send us stuff. So I would get to work and I would get the results of his whole work day. And it was these amazing illustrations, some of the first designs for the movie. And it was like just a gift every day. And he was a great collaborator, he was an amazing illustrator. And you could see it in the art of book. Callum Watt is his name. That was pretty awesome about pre-pro, because when the idea for the movie came about, like I could see what the end result was going to be, and it was just like finding a way to like get everyone to see that also. And so pre-production is the first time where you can start to get some clay on the table in an effort towards allowing more people to see your vision, which is vision seems like such a pretentious thing, but as I'm discovering, like it's very evident to me what it should be, but that's just the part of the gig. Like you gotta find, most of the movie is just getting people to see what you see.
Oh, I enjoy a lot about pre-production. On this film, when our production designer, Tim Evatt, he did a series of black and white studies, grayscale studies, because he was really looking for the graphic clarity and how we were going to communicate the graphic clarity. And I think that's probably the first time that I understood how cinematic the film was going to be. When I started to see those studies, that for me was a real highlight in the process. And we've never done that on a film before. This was a first for me.
That's great. That's really cool.
Well, I remember we were talking, and Megan said to me, my jaw hit the floor when Buzz's helmet comes up and you have the reflections coming off, and very, very impressed. As an actor, I'm really interested, and I hope other young actors as well with the National Youth Film Academy. My question is that when you're creating these characters, is it that the actors do the voices and you create the character with the actor? Or is it that you work with the animators and the animators make the character and then the actors come in and do the voices over the top? Because it gives a little bit of a different performance element to it if you can see what the animation is in front of you, or if you're reading the script and you're completely just, devising the character off the script.
Well, usually what happens is we have a session with an actor, and they will have a script, so they will have their ideas and they'll think about it ahead of time, and then we will often show them the scene in storyboard drawings, and there might be some acting in there with some key poses, and it definitely gets across the intent of the scene, and then they see it and then they perform it. Oftentimes, certainly in COVID times, what would happen was they would perform over Zoom and I would be directing them over Zoom, but I would perform opposite them the scenes. Any of the other characters I would just do. And that way we could control the rhythm of the scene and the intent of the scene without me having to give them so much feedback. They were just reacting to it, and the rhythms were based on what I had in my head from what I thought we should go with. So it's kind of all of the above. Animation comes after the fact, and they will do animation after we have the voice, because you want to time the animation to the voice. But even then, before we even get to animation, we take all the takes and we will trim and edit and combine the takes that are the best performance that we want. And sometimes, a sentence could be 2 or 3 takes, depending how well we felt it worked. You try not to do that because you want the flow of it, but sometimes, depending on the intent of the scene, that's what you do. Then when we get to animation, it's making sure that you're always thinking of the end product, and the end product is going to have information from lighting, from movement, from the camera, from the dialogues, all of these things combined. So part of the job of the director is making sure to modulate all those elements so no one thing is too overpowering or that it's duplicating information. So that part of what I do in directing animation, and certainly in the vocal performance, is making sure all those things blend together to form the right amplitude for the scene, so it's not overpowering you with information. There's plenty of examples of animation that maybe are a bit overdone because the animator gets the shot and they want to show what they can do, and a lot of it is superfluous movement. And that superfluous movement doesn't work so well for this film in particular, in that the outfits are so realistic or they have so much detail that extraneous movement actually can destroy the sense of the world and the sense of danger that we feel for those characters. So that was a very long-winded answer, but the short answer is no, we record the voices first.
Voices first. No, that's, thank you very much. I've been wanting to know that for quite a while.
And we just wanted to say thank you because you've saved one of our favourite childhood films. And was it like someone deleted the whole footage and you had it backed up on a hard drive or something?
Yeah, so I had a copy on a computer that I used to download a copy of the film once a week so that I could come home and have dinner and put the children to bed and then continue working. And then somebody accidentally deleted the film and our backups had been failing for months and we didn't know it. And so it was the version of the film that we brought back to the studio. And then in good Lightyear fashion, it was then the team of people who came together to retrieve the film off of the computer and reassemble a full movie from that and what was going on the other machines that saved the film.
Well, I don't think we would be here today if you hadn't, because without Toy Story 2, I don't think there would have been a Toy Story 3 or 4, and then especially not, this wonderful film, Lightyear. I think I've got to do it just before we go, but every hero needs a villain, and no spoilers, I'm very aware, but there were some big decisions made about this villain. Is there anything that you can tell us about Emperor Zurg?
Well, the big thing for Zurg was that I wanted it to be cool and formidable, and I knew that we needed to have Zurg fight Buzz. So whatever Zurg ends up being needs to be as satisfying and not disappointing. I mean, not sad. There's plenty of sad situations. For example, if we find out that Socks is actually behind Zurg, that would be sad. You'd be like, oh,
very unsatisfying.
That's surprising, but it's not satisfying. So that was one of the challenges, was figuring out an interesting backstory for Zurg that was philosophically misaligned with where Buzz was on his journey. Yeah. And that's really what we tried to do. So that's where, and also make him a really cool robot that looked awesome.
And the most appealing villains are the ones that make choices that they're the wrong choices, but you can understand making them, right? Mm-hmm. So that's where you want to go with it, like to make a really juicy villain, so that the audience leaves going, ooh, I'm not sure I would have made the right choice.
It also, ties into what you were talking about earlier. So I can definitely see that decision in there, which is, that was really lovely.
So as two young people, part of the film industry and wanted to break into the film industry, we'll also have a lot of people from the Asheville Film Youth Academy watching this interview. I was wondering, what pieces of advice can you give to the young filmmakers out there who want to get into the industry?
I mean, to me, the biggest thing is surround yourself with like-minded artists. The success that I think that I had initially was the people I surrounded myself with in art school, and because you get to art school and then some people are really there to do the work. Some people are just taking time off until they can take over daddy's company, and some people have a different Armani suit for every single day of the week, but that was a specific story from a long time ago. Anyway, So for me it was trying to find people at school that you just that were going to push you to be better, and by doing that, that's the only way you're going to grow. And you want to find people who are both invested in your success and are interested in getting better by pushing each other. And I think that you when you have that, you'll find that 20 years will go by and you'll see that same group of people and they've found their success. And I'm so fortunate to have had that and to look now and be so happy for these people to have success in their own specific fields. Not exactly my thing, but we all push each other to be better, I would say.
Well, as a young person, I was a physics and then a computer science major. I was not in art school, but I very quickly fell in love with this whole filmmaking process, and what I discovered was that it takes people from all different kinds of backgrounds So I can't draw and I can't act, but I could do other things that were also a huge part of getting our films on the screen. And so if you're passionate about film, but you don't see yourself as an artist, but you want to contribute to the process of making films, there are all different kinds of ways to be a part of the filmmaking entourage and get that kind of satisfaction, both artistically and by being the best you and doing your best work, even if it isn't drawing or animating.
And I would also add, just make movies. You know, the access to making stuff now, because you can make a movie with a phone. It's like it's mind blowing. Like if I had the time, I would totally utilize it if I was a kid now. So I think that really is such a game changer. So if you make movies, you'll learn stuff, and that's in fact that's the most important thing. It's just to make movies.
Definitely agree on that one. Yeah.
Well, thank you both very much. That's been a real honour and pleasure for us. We've been excited all day for that. So I just wanted to, say thank you once again.
Well, the fantastic questions. You really seemed to get it, and it was so refreshing on our end to hear such specific questions that weren't. And when you do these kind of things, you often get the same questions, but these are really, really wonderful. So thank you. Very insightful.
Well, thank you for making the movie.
There's a star